Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Ryan Liu, and today I will share with you how I became a teacher when I was just 17. So the purpose of this video is to first share with you my personal story. Secondly, I hope that my story can give some directions to you, especially if you're a middle school or a high school student that may feel a little bit lost. So for those of you who are new here, I'm Ryan Liu and I'm a music teacher, and I teach in an international school, and I also teach instrumental classes, mainly focusing on piano and guitar. So my music journey started when I was about 4 or 6, I can't remember. I remember that my elder brother was learning piano and I wasn't learning at that time. So whenever he was having class, I will be told to go to the room and wait for the class to be over. But I was really intrigued with the beautiful instrument that I urged my mom to let me take up piano classes. Eventually she did, after much persuasion, and after she see that I have a keen interest in the instrument, and that's where all it begins. So I started to practice diligently. I really enjoy every moment of the practice. I played songs that I really like. I used to love Mozart. Mozart was really a big part of my childhood, actually, more so than games and socializing. So after my diligent practices, I began to perform in schools. I began to perform in different performances.
我依家為大家表演嘅歌曲係《土耳其進行曲》，請大家細心欣賞。
Repertoires, I begin to take the exams. I began to go to competitions, and eventually I got my grade 8 distinction when I was at the age of 11. So this is where it began to be a little bit interesting. After I got my grade 8 distinction when I was 11, which is actually the highest level under the ABRSM examination system, I felt a little bit lost because there were always goals that I need to achieve. So scales, I need to practice this amount, pieces, I need to practice this few songs, sight reading and oral, etc. But after the examination, I felt really lost because I don't know what my goal is anymore. Back then, I used to know that grade 8 is the ultimate goal. Now I have reached that goal. I don't know what's the next step. Then I proceed to try and play guitar, which I happened to just bought at that time because one of my friends used to play guitar. And then I realized that there is a huge connection between piano and guitar. So that's when I start to explore guitar and stuff like that. And when I went to middle school, this is where I had sort of like a midlife crisis for my journey with the piano, because for my middle school years I pretty much didn't play piano as much. I sort of like hated piano in a way, love-hate relationship. I can't really explain that. I was really lost because I used to be like the very good kid who can play like super crazy songs, and now I'm like, what is the use? I don't really know how to put that skill into good use. I still do some performances here and there in schools, but it's not as much as I used to when I was in primary. But when I was in middle school, I started to join the Chinese orchestra. I used to play the double bass, but Chinese orchestra really gave me the opportunity to explore other instruments. So that's when I tried cello, I tried erhu, I tried run, I tried basically a lot of stuff there. That's when I realized that, hold on a second, music is actually really the same, and the instruments are pretty much different voices of the same language. So that's when I realized that I can actually play any instrument, and the fact is that if I can play, you can play too. So if you have not checked out my previous video, which I talked about how to play any instruments, please check out the link around the top corner here. I will put the card around here, so make sure you click it and you check it out, how you can play any instruments in the world. So throughout my middle school, I was really just messing around, playing around, and I didn't really know what I want to do with my life, to be very honest. And middle school is also when I start to work part-time, because back then my family wasn't doing great financially. So in order to support myself, to provide myself meals and everything, I have to start working. I started to work when I just turned about 14, 15, around that time. And my first job was in Yoshinoya, which is a Japanese sort of fast food chain. And my first job's salary is actually Singapore dollars $3.80 per hour. So it was really sort of low even at that time, but it was a life-changing experience for me because it was my first job. I get to really know how working dynamics is. I get to know meet different types of people who are outside my school. I get to earn my own money to spend. So how it will work is that I will basically go to school during the weekdays, and then weekends I will be working at Yoshinoya. And if there are public holidays, then I will most likely be working there as well, because public holidays, they usually pay more to ensure that there are people who are working there. So apart from Yoshinoya, in middle school, I also worked in Swenson's, which is a Western food restaurant. I worked in Anderson's, which is an ice cream restaurant. And then I worked on with some IT shows, which basically sells IT products. And last but not least, I worked in Kazokute, which is a chain that is under the big brand Ajisen, which is like a ramen shop. So I have worked through all these places during my middle school years. So it was the same thing. Weekdays I go to school, and then weekdays evenings I study, and then weekends I will work. And if it is summer break or winter break, I will work. And I pretty much spend my middle school years like that. After I finished middle school, I am now at a stage where I think, what is the next step? What I can do with life. So I was really lost back then. And in fact, before that, my mom had been telling me since I got my grade 8 distinction when I was 11 that I can start to teach piano. And the thing is that back then I was just 11 years old. I don't think anyone will hire a 11 years old to teach piano. But after middle school, I felt like maybe it's time that I can try to teach piano. I start reaching out to a lot of schools, music schools, ballet schools, basically any places that need to hire a musician. So one of the most memorable interviews that I remember is when I went to a ballet school. So how ballet school works is that they will need to employ pianists to play piano live for the students to dance ballet. I remembered two things in my mind, which is firstly, I really don't understand ballet at all. Maybe I should start doing some research, but I really don't understand how ballet works. But secondly, the money is just too good, because back then if you earn like $10-20 per hour, it is a huge jump from what I used to earn when I was working in restaurants. So then I got really excited. I went to the interview. Unfortunately, I did not do quite well in the interview because I didn't really prepare very well for the songs that they want me to play. But I didn't give up at that time. I kept sending out to different places, and eventually one music school said that, hey, we are actually looking for a relief teacher for one of the teachers who are going away for a month. That was in April 2012. So that was about 8 years ago. So that's when I started to teach. So I taught about a month or so just relieving his students, and I felt like, wow, this is really cool. Not only I have a much higher salary, I also really enjoy the connection and the sharing of knowledge and basically the passion. So from my middle school, which I spent like 4 years plus, having a midlife crisis with the music, suddenly I have a realization that, hold on, this whole thing is really fitted for me. But after the teacher came back after a month, I'm suddenly jobless again. Back then I also started to study in my polytechnic. So how am I gonna support myself, right? That school, however, still continues to find me sometimes occasionally for relief classes. That's when if a teacher is sick or there is teachers who are gonna be away, that's when I have to cover for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, etc. But I felt that it was not stable enough until I have my own students. So I kept sending out resumes as per usual, and eventually about in July 2012, I got an offer to teach at another music school, which is a great music school, and they start giving me students. And interestingly, my first official student, I'm still currently teaching this day. So I literally see her grow from like a little girl to a teenage girl now, which is quite an amazing journey. That's where I have a stable teaching place there, but they were not really giving me a lot of students at that time because I was still starting out. So what I did was I still continued to apply. So eventually I got another offer from another music school. So what happened was that on Saturdays I will teach at the first music school, and then on Sunday I will teach at the second music school. And to make things even more interesting, the first school that I taught as a relief teacher in April 2012 called me back and said that, hey, we have a few students that we would like you to teach permanently. Can you do that? So I said, yeah, of course. So eventually I started to teach 3 schools in a weekend. So Saturday I will teach 1 school, Sunday morning I will teach 1 school, Sunday afternoon to evening I will teach another school. So back then when I was 17 and 18, my weekends were already fully dedicated to just teaching. So this went on for like 1 or 2 years. Then my opportunity to teach private students came when one of the school closed down one of the outlets that they have. The boss said, you know what, we are going to cut down on the number of centers. So the students that you have at this center, you can teach them privately. So that was about 2013, 2014 when I started to teach by going to students' house, and by doing that I earned fully the fees that they paid without any percentage or cuts to the school. So that was pretty cool. It opened a huge world for me because I never knew that I can do this with my life. And after like teaching 2-3 years, that's when I thought that, hold on, I think I want to upgrade myself as well, because I was only holding a grade 8 cert, although it's a distinction, but grade 8 is just like here. I want to be more recognized. So that's when I start to take the money that I have, I start to reinvest in my own education. I went to get a diploma for teaching, which I eventually got it in 2015. That's when I gained a lot more knowledge of teaching, because back then I thought that teaching was just knowledge based. You just achieve this, that's pretty much it. There's nothing more. And if you show the results that you can achieve this, pretty much my job is over. But when I really dwell into the education spectrum of things, I realized that education is much more than that. It encompasses psychology, it encompasses experience, and it really broadens my mind as a teacher. So afterwards, my numbers of students actually went stagnant for quite some time. And eventually I thought, you know what, I think I want to have more students, and since I have few years of experience of teaching right now, maybe I can post online. So I post on different places to advertise my teaching. That's when I suddenly got a lot of inquiries for me to go to their houses, and then my numbers shot up again. Back then around 2015 to 2017, I really can't remember when, I started to teach fully just to students' house. And as I gather more experiences for my teaching, more parents are more pleased with my teaching. And eventually a huge breakthrough came when one of the parents were so satisfied with my teaching, she decided to post my number and her testimonial in one of the expats group for Facebook, and it went literally viral. The numbers of inquiries just exploded. Interestingly, till this day, I don't know what she wrote, but I got a lot of inquiries from a lot of parents say, oh, you know, Ryan Liu is such a great teacher and my daughters were enjoying so much, blah, blah, blah. And then I got new students, and the new students, the parents told me that you are doing something very good. But through all these compliments, I still do not know till this day what she wrote, but I'm very, very grateful for that testimonial. Apart from that parent, I also have other parents who actually pass my contacts to their friends, so the word of mouth spread like wildfire. And eventually at my peak, I was teaching every day. Weekdays, evenings, I was teaching every day. Weekends, Saturday I was teaching like 9 a.m. to 9 p.m, something like that. Sunday was 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., something like that. At my peak, I was doing that. Income-wise, it was quite stable. I mean, from financially unstable when I was in middle school, I eventually became financially stable at the age of in my early 20s, and it was a huge achievement. But eventually, I reached a point where I was really burned out because this tough schedule maintained for like a few years, and eventually one time I was actually teaching, and I feel like I was gonna be blackout. So that's when I realized that something is wrong and I have to re-evaluate my whole teaching schedule. And also, by the way, at that time, about like 2015 to 2018, around there, I also tried out different entrepreneurial stuff. I also worked at different places. It was all over the place. Trust me, my life back then was just work, and it was everywhere. I was working this place, working that place, but predominantly I was focusing on just teaching. And by the way, I did not go to any university. So after my polytechnic, I got a diploma, which is separate from the diploma of teaching. I pretty much stopped there because I thought that, universities, 4 years for a bachelor is really not worth it, in my opinion. So I was thinking that, hold on, why not I look for master's programs that can evaluate me based on my experience. So then I called up different places, and I realized that Monash University from Australia actually does a program here in Singapore. It is Masters of Education, but it's split into two. One is Graduate Certificate of Educational Studies, which leads to Masters of Education. So I thought, okay, I will call up the school and I will see what is going on. So basically, the person on the line said that it is really tough for you to be accepted because you don't have a bachelor degree at all. But you can try. You can try. So everyone, listen to this. In life, you have to try, okay? I don't care what you say about failures or whatever. You must try. So anyway, she said you can try to get testimonials from your students, and we can help you to submit to the school and see what they say. So I gathered all the testimonials, which all of them wrote amazing things about me, which I am very thankful for it. And I submitted. After like a month, they called me, congratulations, you got accepted to the course. So I was like, wow, that was crazy. From having no bachelor, no university degrees, I got accepted to this. So I pretty much juggle my teaching career and my studies. And it was really fun because when you really put your heart and effort into it, your mind just constantly broadens in a way that it is really a life-changing experience. So yeah, that's pretty much how I became a teacher when I was 17 and my journey 8 years after. So I hope that my video can give you a little bit of a sense of direction, and if you feel lost, really is okay. I felt very lost back then as well as a teenager, but you just gotta keep working, you gotta put in good work ethics, you gotta put in your heart to it. Whatever you do, people will recognize it, and you will be able to achieve unexpected results in the end. So my advice for kids who are currently in middle school or high school or in universities, I would strongly advise you to just find something to do. You can work in a restaurant, you can try to sell things on eBay, Amazon, or whatever. As long as you gain experience, it will always be beneficial for you. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will be very grateful for your support, and it will also help in the YouTube algorithm to recommend such similar helpful videos to other people. So I will really appreciate it if you can click the like button and the subscribe button if you have liked the video. And of course, if you have any questions or any ideas that you want to share with me, please feel free to comment down below, and I will try my best to reply to every single comment. Thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you at the next video. Bye bye.